Well, let me just do a dummy run and then see what...
Right. Well, I'm filming, Bob, so they don't mind your dummy run. So we've got... okay, let's have a look at the voltage there. We've got on the battery, we've got 12.73 volts. Okay, so now we need to measure what we've got at the light. So let's do that.
Right, they want to be on really, aren't they?
Okay, right. Well, I'll turn the battery on. Okay, lights are on.
So I'll just find a good earth, which is probably that.
Yep. And we're going to connect that onto the terminal there. No, it must be the other one. Okay, so we've got, let's just turn this around so it makes sense. 9.9.
10 volts. Yeah,
10 volts.
Damn it,
Okay.
10 volts.
10
right?
volts, so that's a 2.7 volt drop.
Yep.
Okay, so now let's see what difference it makes to the actual light. So we're taking direct feed off the positive there, and Bob is going to connect it directly onto the back of the light. So let's see what it does for brilliance here. Yeah, crikey, that's a noticeable difference, isn't it? Oh, jeez, hang on. Oops. Let's be clear. Just a minute, Bob. I'm just going to turn the brilliance down a bit. Okay, so just take the wire off.
It's off now.
Okay, and back on. Yeah, you can see a significant difference there. Yeah. Okay. We've talked about voltage drop. Bob, can you explain why we get voltage drop in a wiring system?
Yeah. So we started off at the battery with about 12.8 volts, and I think we finished up here with 10 volts.
That's correct, yes.
So we dropped almost 3 volts in that.
Yeah.
And where does it go? Well, from the battery it goes onto the solenoid post.
Yep.
That's a connection.
Yes.
From the solenoid post it goes through, if you've still got a dynamo, it's going to go through your relay, your control box bit, a few more connections on there. From there it's going to go to the ignition switch, from there it's going to go to the ammeter.
Yes.
From the ammeter it'll go to the light switch, from the light switch to the dip switch, and finally from the dip switch it goes to the headlamp.
Right.
Every one of those connections is going to have a very small voltage drop, plus you've got the gauge of the wires, not particularly good.
Yep.
All that added up, and of course if it's an old car and you've got a bit of corrosion on the connections, then all of that's going to add up as well. So that's where it goes. Yep.
Well, Bob, that's great, thank you.
Yeah, so the reason why it's important that halogen bulbs get a decent voltage, at least 12 volts to them, is because they lose brightness massively as soon as that voltage falls below maybe 11 volts.
Yes. They'll
lose something like 30-40% of their
the lumens.
That with 10 volts going to it is probably operating at about 60% of its
lumens.
Capable luminance. Yeah.
And of course, once the car is running, Bob, with the alternator chucking, I guess the voltage coming out the battery
gets up to 13.4 volts.
Yes, 13.4. So we'll see
so the idea is we put a relay directly on the end of this of here with this heavy feed on it.
Yep.
So there's no loss. So we'll pretty well see battery voltage directly onto.
Okay. Lovely. That's 10.2 volts. Bob's just going to turn it up to, well, we should get, well, just turn up to 12.5, which was, okay, and then, so we should get about 13 volts, shouldn't we, or 13.5 volts when we're running. That'll do, yeah. So I don't know how that comes up on the camera, but looking at it just with the eyeball, because the camera obviously compensates with exposure, but looking at the eyeball, you can see quite a big difference.
2.
Yeah.
Just go up and down between the two.
Oh yes. Well, that's actually very good, because I'm looking at the reflection of the illumination on your on your parts boxes there, and you can really see it.
Yeah, well, that's between 10.2 and 13 volts.
Geez, that's incredible, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So just show us what we've got there, Bob. That brown and yellow.
So the brown and yellow is the feed directly from the battery.
Yep.
There's a pair of relays, one for main, one for dip.
Yep.
This is going to get linked through from one relay to the other, so they've both
got two tails coming off that.
So they've both got the positive supply on them. We've then got the feed coming from the original feed here, which originally supplied the headlights. So that's
That's from the switch.
from the switch
Yep.
with a main beam and a dip beam wire. They're going to be used now to trigger the coil in the relay.
Yep.
And then that switches the feed from this to either the main or the dip beam.
Right.
So I've always preferred to use two relays. You can use one relay if you wanted to and switch between one point and the other
Yes.
on the relays.
Right.
But I've always thought that if you got a problem, if you got a fault, then you lose your headlights
Oh,
completely.
you lose both,
You
yeah,
can lose
okay,
both
whereas-
headlights
I
on
see, I
different
see.
beams. So I just prefer to use two relays.
Okay,
but,
very good.
So that's that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Also, yeah.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
these are earths, which
Yeah, so you've got a pair of earths. You've got one earth, which is the one that's earthing the headlights,
yep,
and the other earth is the earth for the coil on the relay.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
And that's it. Yeah.
The left-hand wing side headlight arrangement is now done. That's the brown and yellow cable is the 12-volt feed from the battery going into the junction box, and which is a IP. What is it, Bob? What's the rating?
It's IP67,
IP67.
which is waterproof, but you couldn't take it down to about 30 metres.
Okay, right.
So
So-
don't go driving into any lakes.
Yeah. Well, it's waterproof. Obviously, that relies on us putting some sealant on that bottom grommet there, which we've still got to do. And then you've got the relays, as explained earlier, and that's the earth point we've used, which is it's the mounting for this electric hydraulic pump, which is my power steering pump. And then this is going up here. This is heading back up into the headlight bowl there. And I'll just come around the other side because Bob is now. You're just about to reattach that three-pin, that three-socket connector, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah, that's. I'll do a bit more of that in a minute. Right, so that's the new. Just pull out a wee bit, Bob, so I can see the new bit of the wiring loom. We've attached the new bit of the wiring loom back onto the plug that was originally on there. So that's all heat shrinked and everything on now. So that's good, and we've ascertained that's working. The wiring's now complete. Looking at the brown and yellow wire there, it comes out of the electrical post and it goes down into a fuse. What size fuse did we fit in the end, Bob?
15 amp.
15 amp, okay. Currently the wire runs here, and I've just tucked it in there. It's not being pinched by the battery, but I would like to actually eventually run that under the battery tray, which I'll do next time I get the battery out. It comes down along. I've picked it up along inside with the rest of the wires here. It goes down through the wing there, and I'll just drop down under the wing without killing myself, and I'll just shine the light up there. Comes into the outer wing, into the box. We've got a split. There's one lead goes across to the left hand side. There's the earth there that you can see quite clearly, and then obviously up through and into the headlight bowl. And we are just about to do a voltage test to see what the voltage drop is now that all of this is in situ. Right, what have we got on the... It has dropped. Oops. Oh, there we go. 12.7. So 12.68 we'll call it. Okay. And if I connect that up, get the lights on, I'm doing it with the light switch already on. All I've got to do is connect up the battery there on that. The lights are now on. You're just getting an earth, are you, Bob? Yep. Okay, an earth. Right. Oh, I better come round this side here and look at the meter. I'll prop the meter up. So you're putting that onto there. What have we got? 11.8. So we've got a 1 volt drop, which is.
Yeah, well, it was nearly 3 before.
That's right. So
11.7, 11.8.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that's going to work pretty well.
Yeah,
Just coming up to 12 volts. And of course, once you're driving,
yes,
that 11.8 will go up to certainly on this car maybe 12.8, 13 volts.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
righto.